Dr. Kethavar had not slept for 3 days. His crystal body glowed dimmer than usual, a sign that he was very tired. But he could not stop working. The ancient text on the datapad held secrets that made his old mind race with worry. Miran Kim sat across from him, drinking her 5th cup of coffee. She had dark circles under her eyes, but her hands were steady as she worked on the translation program. 2 other humans had joined them, Jin-A Song, a language expert, and Subin Choi, a security officer sent by Ambassador Hyun-woo. "I found another piece," Jin-A said. She was a thin woman with glasses who spoke many languages. "This symbol here. It appears in 3 different ancient texts. It always means death or ending." Dr. Kethavar made a sound like breaking glass. It was how his people showed fear. "Show me." Ginny pointed to a symbol on the screen. It looked like a circle with lines going through it. In the old Drakmor texts, it means final battle. In Zenith writing, it means where things end. And in the Crystal Archives, it means grave, Dr. Kethavar finished. The resting place of the dead. Subin Choi looked up from her security readings. She was a strong woman who always watched for danger. "How many symbols have we translated so far?" 43, Miran said. "Out of maybe 200 in the full name. And they all mean bad things," Subin said. It was not a question. Jin-A nodded. Death, ending, fear, darkness, forbidden. Every symbol we can read is a warning. Dr. Kethavar moved to another datapad. "I have been checking other records from the same time period." "Look at this." A new map appeared above the table. It showed many star systems, but some were marked with red symbols. "What are the red marks?" Miran asked. "Quarantine zones," the crystal alien said. "Places that were blocked off. No ships were allowed to go there, no trade." "No contact," Subin leaned forward. "How many systems were quarantined?" 12, Dr. Kethavar said. "But look at this. The map changed. Now all the quarantine zones were gone except one. Over time, the quarantines were lifted. The dangerous things were dealt with or they died out, all except one. The last red mark was exactly where Earth's solar system was located. The quarantine on Earth was never lifted," Jin-A said quietly. "That is correct," Dr. Kethavar said. "According to these records, it should still be in place. No ship should be able to enter your system. But somehow humans developed space travel and left their world." Miran felt cold. What could be so dangerous that it needed to be locked away for 50,000 years? Before anyone could answer, the lab door opened. Elder Morpheus walked in, moving slowly on 6 legs. He was one of the oldest beings in the galaxy. His people had been traveling between stars since before most species existed. He almost never spoke to anyone. "Elder," Dr. Kethavar said with respect. "What brings you here?" The old being looked at the map floating above the table. His many eyes focused on the red mark over Earth. "I smelled the fear," he said in a voice like rustling leaves. "Fear that I have not smelled for many, many years. You know about this?" Subin asked. Her hand moved toward her weapon. Elder Morpheus nodded slowly. "My people were young when it happened. We had just learned to build ships that could cross between systems. And then the warnings came." "What warnings?" Jin-A asked. "From everywhere," the old being said. "Every species that could speak across space was sending the same message. Stay away from the dead system. Do not go near the graveyard. Let the sleeping things sleep." Dr. Kethavar's body was glowing brighter. "You were there when the quarantine was put in place." "My grandfather was," Elder Morpheus said. "He told me stories before he died. Stories that gave me nightmares for centuries." Miran set down her coffee cup. "What happened there?" Elder Morpheus was quiet for a long time. His 6 legs shifted as if he was ready to run away. "The gods went to war," he said finally. "Gods?" Subin said. "What gods?" "The beings we thought were gods," the old alien said. "The ones with power over space and time. The ones who could create and destroy with their thoughts. They came from across the galaxy to fight on one small world." "Earth," Jin-A said. "The place you call Earth," Elder Morpheus agreed. "But we had another name for it then. The name that is written in your ancient text there." Dr. Kethavar looked at the datapad. "Can you read it?" Elder Morpheus moved closer. His old eyes looked at the symbols. "Morthanus Gulvecthar," he said. The word seemed to make the air in the lab feel heavy. "What does it mean?" Miran asked. The old being closed several of his eyes. "The graveyard of gods. The place where gods go to die." The lab was completely quiet. Even the machine stopped making noise for a moment. "The war lasted for hundreds of years," Elder Morpheus continued. The god beings tore holes in space. They broke the laws of nature. They turned that world into a battlefield that could be seen from other galaxies. What were they fighting about? Subin asked. No one remembers, Elder Morpheus said. But they all came. Every godlike being in the galaxy. And they destroyed each other. Janae was typing fast on her computer. But humans live on Earth. If there was a war like that, how did anyone survive? That is the great mystery, the old alien said. When the war ended, when the last god being died, there should have been nothing left alive on that world. But somehow something survived. Dr. Kethfar made another glass-breaking sound. The primitives. What primitives? Miran asked. Every world has primitive life, Dr. Kethfar said. Simple beings who have not learned to build cities or ships. They were on Earth when the gods came to fight. Elder Morpheus nodded. The god beings paid no attention to them. Why would gods care about creatures that lived in caves and hunted with stone tools? But they survived, Subin said. More than survived, Elder Morpheus said. They learned. They grew, they changed. 50,000 years later, they became you. Miran felt like the room was spinning. You're saying humans are the descendants of the primitives who lived through a war between gods? That is what the old stories say, Elder Morpheus replied. The children of the graveyard. The species that should not exist. Alarms started ringing again throughout the station. This time they were louder and more urgent. A voice came over the communication system, speaking in the emergency tone. All council members report to the main hall immediately. Priority alert from Earth system. Strange energy readings are increasing. Subin stood up fast. I need to contact Ambassador Park. Wait, Elder Morpheus said. There is something else you must know. They all looked at the old being. The quarantine was not just to keep others out, he said. It was to keep something in. And if that quarantine has failed, what will happen? Ginny asked. Elder Morpheus looked at each of them with his many eyes. The galaxy will remember why we were afraid. And this time, the children of the graveyard are not primitive anymore. As they ran toward the main hall, Miran could not stop thinking about the old alien's words. Humans had always wondered why they seemed so different from other species, why they adapted so fast, why they survived things that killed others, why they seemed to find creative solutions that no other aliens could imagine. Now she was starting to understand. They were not just another species that had learned to travel the stars. They were something much more dangerous than that. They were the survivors. The council hall was filled with noise and panic. Hundreds of aliens from different worlds were all talking at once. Their voices mixed together in a sound like angry thunder. Ambassador Hyunwoo had never seen the council in such chaos. He sat in the human section, which was small and near the back. Most aliens still thought of humans as unimportant, so they got the worst seats. But today, every alien in the hall kept looking at him. Their stares made him feel cold. Council Speaker Vorth stood at the center podium, trying to bring order. His four green arms waved for quiet. Please, honored members, we must discuss this calmly. Calmly? Shouted a Drakmor representative. The stone-like being stood up, making the floor shake. You want us to be calm when the Forbidden Zone is active again? What Forbidden Zone? Called out a Zenith delegate. Their blue skin was glowing brighter with fear. Hyunwoo felt confused. No one had told him about any Forbidden Zone. He activated his communication device and sent a message to Captain Taemin. What is happening? The Council is acting like Earth is dangerous. The reply came quickly. Strange readings from our system are getting stronger. Ancient beacons are turning on near Earth. Some aliens are pulling their ships away from human space. Elder Morpheus walked slowly to the center of the hall. The old being rarely spoke at council meetings, but when he did, everyone listened. The hall became quiet. Young races, he said in his leaf-rustling voice. You do not remember, but some of us are old enough to know the stories. What stories? Asked a delegate from the Outer Rim. Stories about the place the humans call Earth, Elder Morpheus said. Stories about why that system was marked as forbidden for 50,000 years. Hyunwoo stood up. Honored Elder, I don't understand. Earth has never been forbidden to anyone. We have had peaceful contact with many species. The old being turned his many eyes toward the human ambassador. That is because the warning beacons failed, young human. The systems that were supposed to keep everyone away from your world stopped working long ago. Dr. Kethfar entered the hall, moving quickly despite his crystal body. Behind him came Miran, Ginny, and Subin. They all looked worried and tired. I have the translation, Dr. Kethvar announced. His voice rang like bells through the hall. Every alien stopped talking. The silence was complete. The ancient name for the world humans call Earth is Morthanis Gul Vekthar, the crystal scientist said. In the old common language, it means the graveyard of gods. The silence exploded into chaos. Aliens jumped from their seats. Some screamed. Others ran toward the exits. The Drakmor delegate threw his chair across the room. Impossible, shouted the Zenith representative. The graveyard was destroyed. It was wiped clean. Nothing could survive on the graveyard, cried another voice. Hyunwoo felt dizzy. He looked at Miran, who had moved to sit near him. Is this real? He asked her quietly. The evidence is clear, she said. Our world was the site of an ancient war between godlike beings. Somehow primitive humans survived. Elder Morpheus raised one of his legs for attention. Slowly, the hall became quiet again. The stories say that all the great powers of the galaxy came to that world to fight. They tore reality apart with their battle. When it was over, they were all dead. Then how are the humans here? Asked Council Speaker Vorth. Because something lived through it, Elder Morpheus said. Something that should have been destroyed but wasn't. Something that learned and grew and became them. He pointed at Hyunwoo. Ginny stood up. We've been researching human development since the discovery. There are things about our species that don't make sense. What kind of things? Asked a delegate Hyunwoo didn't recognize. Human children play games that match military strategies used by extinct civilizations, Jinne said. Our languages contain mathematical patterns that shouldn't exist in natural speech. Our art often depicts creatures and places that we've never seen, but exist on other worlds. Subin added, human reaction times in crisis situations are 3 times faster than they should be. Our ability to adapt to new environments is beyond normal biological limits. Dr. Kethvar activated a holographic display. I have been studying energy readings from the human system for the past 6 hours. The ancient technology buried on their world is waking up. The display showed Earth surrounded by a network of energy patterns. They pulsed like a giant heartbeat. Defense systems, whispered an old alien near the front, the same kind the god beings used in the war. Captain Taemin's voice came through Hyunwoo's communicator, loud enough for nearby aliens to hear. Ambassador, you need to know something. Human colonies across the galaxy are reporting strange events. People are doing things they've never learned how to do. Children are speaking languages that don't exist. Adults are seeing visions of places they've never been. The hall erupted again. This time the chaos was mixed with fear. They're awakening, someone screamed. The children of the graveyard are remembering. We have to stop them before they become like their ancestors. Enough! Elder Morpheus's voice was louder than Hyunwoo had ever heard it. The old being's body was glowing with energy that made the air shimmer. Fear will not help us now. He looked directly at Hyunwoo. Young human, your people are changing. The power that has slept in your blood for 50,000 years is waking up. Soon you will not be the harmless species that joined our council 30 years ago. What will we become? Hyunwoo asked. He was surprised that his voice was steady. What you always were, Elder Morpheus said. The inheritors of gods. Alarms started ringing throughout the station again. This time, they were the emergency evacuation signals. A voice over the communication system spoke in urgent tones. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Multiple fleets are moving toward the station. Hostile intent unknown. Subin checked her security readings. 17 different species have launched military fleets. They're all heading this way. They mean to destroy us before we fully awaken, Miran said quietly. Council Speaker Vorth tried to restore order one more time. Honored members, violence is not the answer. The humans have been peaceful neighbors for 3 decades. Because they didn't know what they were, shouted the Drakmor delegate. But now they do. And soon they'll have the power to destroy us all, just like their ancestors destroyed the gods. Hyunwoo felt something strange happening inside his mind. It was like waking up from a very long dream. Suddenly, he could see patterns in the chaos around him. He understood the fear in every alien's movements. He could predict what they would do next. Miran, he said quietly, are you feeling different? She nodded. Like I'm remembering things I never learned. Subin? The security officer was staring at her hands. I can see weak points in the station's structure. I know how to disable it with minimal casualties. I've never studied engineering. Jeannie was writing symbols in the air with her finger. They glowed faintly and then disappeared. These are words in the first language, she said. The language the god beings used to shape reality. Elder Morpheus watched them with ancient eyes. It begins, he said. The long sleep ends. Through the great windows of the council hall they could see ships arriving. Not the mixed fleet of different species that usually protected the station. These were warships. Their hulls were dark and their weapons were charged. They mean to kill us all, Subin said. But she didn't sound afraid. She sounded ready. Let them come, Hyunwoo said. The words surprised him. He had always been a peaceful diplomat. But something old and powerful was stirring in his blood. Something that remembered how to fight gods. Outside, the first shots were fired. The war that had ended 50,000 years ago was about to begin again. But this time, the children of the graveyard were no longer primitive. This time they would fight back. The first explosion shook the council station so hard that many aliens fell to the floor. Through the great windows, everyone could see enemy ships firing at the station's shields. The energy barriers glowed bright blue with each hit, but they were getting weaker. Hyunwoo helped Elder Morpheus stand up. The old being was not hurt, but his many eyes looked sad. It has begun again, he whispered. The same fear that destroyed the gods will now destroy us all. What really happened in the war? Hyunwoo asked. We need to know the truth. Elder Morpheus moved toward a quiet corner of the hall. The other humans followed him. Around them, aliens were screaming and running for the escape pods. My grandfather was a young soldier then, the old being said. He was part of the first group that received the emergency signals from your system. Another explosion made the lights flicker, but the humans felt strangely calm. Subin was watching the battle outside and somehow knew exactly how many enemy ships there were and what weapons they carried. The signals came from everywhere at once, Elder Morpheus continued. Every god being in the galaxy was calling for help. They said something had gone wrong. Something had trapped them on the primitive world. Trapped them how? Miran asked. No one knew, but the gods were afraid. Beings that could move stars and create life were asking for rescue from a small planet with nothing but caves and simple animals. Jeanne was writing glowing symbols in the air again. This time they stayed visible longer. These symbols mean binding and prison, she said. I don't know how I know that. The rescue fleets came, Elder Morpheus said. Ships from 100 different worlds. But when they reached your system, they found something impossible. What? Hyunwoo asked. The gods were fighting each other, the old being said. Not together against some outside enemy. Against each other. And they could not leave the planet. Captain Taemin's voice came through the communication device. Ambassador, human colonies everywhere are reporting the same thing. Our people are remembering things, old things, and they're building weapons with their bare hands. Subin looked at her hands. They were glowing faintly now. I can feel it too, like there are blueprints in my mind for machines that don't exist yet. The war lasted 300 years, Elder Morpheus said. Every god being that came to help got pulled into the fight. No one could leave. No one could stop. They fought until they were all dead. Why couldn't they leave? Miran asked. That is the mystery, the old alien said. Something on that world was holding them there. Something that made them fight each other instead of working together. Dr. Kethvar had been quiet, but now his crystal body was glowing very bright. I have been studying the energy readings from Earth. The pattern is not random. He showed them a holographic image. The energy around Earth looked like a giant web. This is not a defense system, he said. It is a trap. The same trap that caught the gods. A trap? Hyunwoo said. Think about it, Dr. Kethvar said. What is the one thing that could make god beings fight each other until they died? The humans looked at each other. Slowly, Ginny spoke. Competition for something they all wanted. But what could gods want that they would kill each other for it? Miran asked. Elder Morpheus made a sound like wind through dead leaves. The same thing every powerful being wants. More power. The primitive human, Hyunwoo said suddenly. They weren't just witnesses to the war. No, Elder Morpheus agreed. They were the prize. Subin understood first. The gods came to Earth because primitive humans had something special. Something the gods wanted to take. What did they have? Miran asked. Potential, Elder Morpheus said. The ability to become something greater than gods. Another explosion, much closer this time. The station's shields were failing. But the humans were not afraid. If anything, they felt more awake than they had ever been. The gods tried to take that potential for themselves, Elder Morpheus continued, but it could not be stolen. It could only be inherited, and the more they fought over it, the stronger the primitive humans became. Gina was writing faster now. The glowing symbols filled the air around her. The first language is coming back to me. I can feel the words that shaped reality. By the time the gods realized what was happening, it was too late, Elder Morpheus said. The primitive humans had absorbed power from every god that died on their world. They became the inheritors of everything. But they stayed primitive, Miran said. No, Dr. Kethavar said. They chose to stay simple. They could have used the power right away, but they were smart. They waited. Waited for what? Hyunwoo asked. For the right time, Subin said. She was looking at the battle outside with new understanding. For the moment when the galaxy would threaten their children. The station shook again, harder than before. Through the windows, they could see that the enemy fleets had broken through the outer defenses. Soon they would be close enough to board the station. 50,000 years, Elder Morpheus said. Your ancestors waited 50,000 years. They built civilizations, learned science, developed culture, all while keeping the god power hidden in their blood. Until now, Miran said. Until now, the old alien agreed. When their descendants are threatened, the power awakens. Captain Tae-min's voice came through the communicator again. Ambassador, human fleets are moving throughout the galaxy. But they're not using normal space drives. They're moving through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Hyunwoo felt the power growing stronger in his chest. It was warm and bright and terrible. We need to stop this war before it destroys everyone. Can you? Elder Morpheus asked. I don't know, Hyunwoo said, but I think we have to try. Subin was studying the enemy fleet patterns. There are 17 different species out there. All of them are afraid of us. If we fight them directly, we'll prove they were right to be afraid. Then what do we do? Miran asked. Jinae stopped writing symbols and looked at her friends. We show them that we're still human. That power doesn't have to mean destruction. How? Hyunwoo asked. By protecting them instead of fighting them, she said. Dr. Kethvar's crystal body rang like a bell. The human ships are arriving. Through the windows they could see new vessels appearing in space. But these ships were different from anything they had seen before. They moved like living things. Their hulls seemed to bend light around them, and they were beautiful in a way that made even the enemy pause their attack. Those are not ships built with normal technology, Elder Morpheus said. No, Subin agreed. They're built with will, with imagination, with the power that shaped reality when the universe was young. The enemy fleets were confused. They had come to destroy dangerous humans, but the human ships were not attacking. Instead, they were forming a protective barrier around the council station. They're shielding us, Miran said in wonder. From their own people's attack, Hyunwoo added. Captain, Taemin's voice came through one more time. Ambassador, the human fleet commanders are asking for orders. What should they do? Hyunwoo felt the weight of 50,000 years of hidden power. He felt the fear of every alien in the galaxy, and he felt the choice that would decide the future of everyone. Tell them to protect the council, he said. Protect everyone. Even those who came to destroy us, sir. Taemin's voice was confused. We are not our ancestors, Hyunwoo said firmly. We will not let fear destroy the galaxy. Not again. Outside, the human ships began to glow with soft light, and for the first time since the battle began, the shooting stopped. The silence in space was complete. 17 alien fleets floated motionless, their weapons still charged but not firing. Around them, human ships glowed with soft golden light that seemed to calm everyone who looked at it. Ambassador Hyunwoo stood at the center of the council hall. Every alien was watching him now, but their stares were different. The fear was still there, but it was mixed with something else. Wonder. I request permission to address the full council, he said to Speaker Vorth. The mantis-like alien nodded slowly. The floor is yours, Ambassador Park. Hyunwoo walked to the center podium. He could feel the power flowing through his blood, making him aware of everything around him. But instead of using it to threaten or intimidate, he let it fill him with calm understanding. Honored members, he began, you are afraid of us, and you should be. Shocked murmurs filled the hall. Not because we want to hurt you, Hyunwoo continued, but because fear itself is dangerous. It was fear that caused the God War 50,000 years ago. It was fear that made beings with unlimited power destroy each other instead of building together. Elder Morpheus nodded approvingly. Wisdom beyond his years, the old alien whispered. You have learned that humans are the children of the graveyard, Hyunwoo said, that we carry the inherited power of dead gods in our blood. This is true, but you have forgotten something important about that story. What? Asked the Drakmor representative. His stone-like body was tense, ready for battle. You forgot that our ancestors chose to survive, Hyunwoo said. When gods were tearing reality apart around them, primitive humans made a choice. They could have used the power they were absorbing to fight back. They could have become gods themselves and joined the war. Why didn't they? Asked a Zenith delegate. Because they were smarter than the gods, Miran said, standing up from her seat. They saw what the power was doing to the god beings, making them fight, making them destroy. Jin'e added, so they hid the power away, buried it so deep that their children and grandchildren would not even know it was there, until they needed it to protect themselves, Subin finished. Captain Taiman's voice came through the communication system, speaking to the entire hall now. The human fleet is holding position. We have weapons that could end this battle in seconds, but we will not use them unless our people are directly threatened. Dr. Kethvar activated his holographic display again. This time it showed energy readings from across the galaxy. Every human world is showing the same pattern. The power is awakening everywhere. But look at how it is being used. The display changed to show human colonies. Instead of weapons and armies, the humans were building things. Hospitals that could heal any disease. Ships that moved faster than light without damaging space-time. Machines that could create food from nothing. They are not preparing for war, Doctor, Kethvar said with amazement. They are preparing to help. This is impossible, said an alien from the outer rim. Power always corrupts. Power always destroys. Does it? Elder Morpheus asked. He moved slowly to the center of the hall. Or, is that just what we tell ourselves when we are afraid of change? He looked around at all the aliens. For 50,000 years, we have built our civilization on the belief that great power must be controlled, limited, hidden away. We made the council to keep any one species from becoming too strong. And it has worked, Speaker Vorth said. We have had peace. Have we? Jin'e asked. She was writing glowing symbols in the air, but these ones were different. They showed images of the galaxy over time. Or have we just had fear? The symbols showed wars between species, trade disputes that turned violent, colonies that failed because no one wanted to share resources or knowledge. We have spent thousands of years being afraid of each other, Hyunwoo said. Afraid that if any species became too powerful, they would destroy the rest. So we kept everyone weak. But weakness is not safety, Miran said. It just means that when real danger comes, no one is strong enough to face it. Subin pointed toward the windows. Look at your fleets out there. 17 different species working together for the first time in centuries. Not because they trust each other, but because they all fear the same thing. Fear brought you together, Hyunwoo said. But fear will also tear you apart when this crisis is over. Unless what? Speaker Vorth asked. Unless you let us help you build something better, Hyunwoo said. The hall was quiet. Outside, the human ships continued to glow with protective light. What are you proposing? Elder Morpheus asked. A new kind of council, Miran said. Not one based on keeping everyone weak and afraid, but one based on making everyone strong enough to protect each other. The humans would share their power? Asked the Drakmor representative. Not share, Jin'e said. Teach. Help each species find their own strength. Every species has unique gifts, Subin added. The Drakmor have incredible endurance. The Zenith can see energy patterns others cannot. The Christine can live for thousands of years and remember everything. Instead of being afraid of each other's strengths, Hyunwoo said, we could combine them. Build a galaxy where everyone is strong enough to help, instead of just strong enough to survive. Captain Taemin's voice came through again. Ambassador, the alien fleets are powering down their weapons. They want to talk. Elder Morpheus made a sound like wind chimes. In all my years, I have never seen warships stop fighting to listen to words. Because for the first time, Dr. Kethvar said, they are hearing something other than threats or surrender demands. They are hearing hope, Speaker Vorth said quietly. Through the windows, they could see the alien ships moving closer to the station, but they were not attacking positions. They were forming a circle around the human vessels, like children gathering around a teacher. This will not be easy, Elder Morpheus warned. There will be species who cannot accept change, who will always choose fear over hope. Then we protect them too, Hyunwoo said simply, until they are ready to choose differently. And if they attack you? Subin asked. Then we stop them without destroying them, he replied. The same way we stopped this battle. Miran looked at her friends. Are we really going to do this? Become the guardians of the galaxy? We already are, Jin'e said. The moment our ancestors chose to survive the God War, they made us responsible for making sure it never happened again. The children of the graveyard, Subin said thoughtfully. Born from the death of gods, raised to be something better. Elder Morpheus moved toward the great windows. Outside, human and alien ships were beginning to work together, sharing information and resources. I have lived for over 10,000 years, the old being said. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species destroy themselves with their own power. But today, for the first time, I have hope that we might actually learn to be better. The galaxy will never be the same, Speaker Vorth said. Good, Hyunwoo replied. It was broken before. Maybe now we can fix it. As the council station began moving toward Earth, surrounded by the largest peaceful fleet in galactic history, the old name for humanity's world began to change meaning. Morthanus Gul Vecthar had once meant the graveyard of gods. But now, as ships from across the galaxy came together to learn from the survivors, it was becoming something new. The place where gods had died was becoming the place where something greater than gods was being born. Not rulers or conquerors, but guardians, teachers, protectors. The children of the graveyard had finally come home, and they had brought the galaxy with them. In the years that followed, when young aliens learned about the day the council fleets almost destroyed themselves out of fear, they would ask their teachers a simple question. What made the humans different from the gods who died on their world? And the teachers would always give the same answer. The gods fought for power over others. The humans chose to use their power for others. That, they would say, made all the difference. The massive space station hung in the void like a silver city. Concordia Prime was the heart of the Galactic Council, home to beings from 800 worlds. Today, the Great Hall buzzed with nervous energy. Something had gone wrong. Very wrong. Lee Taemin stood at the center of the circular chamber. He was tall for a human with black hair and calm dark eyes. His simple blue uniform looked plain next to the flowing robes and glittering armor of the alien delegates around him. But Taemin didn't seem worried. He looked almost bored. Above him, Council Prime Veltharion floated in his energy bubble. The ethereal leader was ancient, even by his people's standards. His translucent body glowed with soft purple light, and his voice echoed through the chamber without moving his mouth. Ambassador Lee, Veltharion said, his tone showing confusion. Perhaps there has been some mistake. Your species has declined our generous offer of council membership. This is unprecedented. Taemin smiled slightly. No mistake, Council Prime. Earth and all human colonies reject your offer. We also request that all council ships leave our space immediately. A wave of shocked whispers spread through the chamber. Park So-jin, standing beside Taemin, watched the alien faces carefully. She was Earth's military liaison, a woman with sharp eyes and graying hair tied back in a neat bun. Her job was to read the room, and what she saw worried her. Not because the aliens looked angry, but because they looked confused and afraid. Counselor Thexandra, an ethereal with silver light patterns across her body, spoke up. Ambassador, you must understand. No species has ever refused council membership. We offer protection, trade agreements, advanced technology, We bring peace to the galaxy. We're not interested, Taemin replied simply. The chamber erupted in noise. Delegates from dozens of species started talking at once. The Chronari clicked their mandibles angrily. The Vortex tentacles writhed with agitation. Even the normally calm Zenthians showed distress through rapid color changes across their scales. Veltharion raised his hand, and the chamber fell silent. Perhaps you do not understand the situation, Ambassador. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 3,000 years. We have protocols for dealing with uncooperative species. Park Seo-jin stepped forward slightly. Her voice was steady and professional. Council Prime, with respect, we understand your protocols perfectly. Economic sanctions followed by limited military intervention. What we're telling you is that these protocols will not work on humanity. Is that a threat? Asked Councillor Zekthul, a massive being covered in chitinous plates. It's a fact, Taemin said. We govern ourselves. We defend ourselves. We suggest you accept this and move on. Veltharion's glow flickered with what looked like irritation. In his 3,000 years of life, he had seen many species join the Council. Some came willingly, drawn by the promise of advanced technology and protection. Others needed encouragement through economic pressure or shows of force. But all of them eventually joined. The Council's way was the only way to maintain order in the galaxy. Ambassador Lee, he said slowly, your species is young. You have been traveling between stars for less than 2 centuries. You cannot possibly understand the complexities of galactic civilization. There are ancient threats out here. Pirates, rogue AI collectives, the void hunters from the galactic rim. Without Council protection, humanity will not survive. Taemin exchanged a quick glance with Park Seo-jin. Something passed between them that made several nearby delegates shift uncomfortably. We appreciate your concern, Taemin said, but we'll take our chances. The discussion continued for hours. Different Council members tried different approaches. They offered trade deals that would make Earth rich beyond imagination. They warned of dangers that would destroy human civilization. They even tried flattery, praising humanity's potential and suggesting they would make excellent Council members. Nothing worked. Taemin and Park Seo-jin listened politely, asked clarifying questions, and then politely declined everything. As the session dragged on, something strange began to happen. The human delegates started asking questions of their own. Not about joining the Council, but about how the Council operated. How were resources distributed among member worlds? What happened to species that wanted to leave the Council? Why were there no records of any species ever achieving full independence? The questions made several Council members uncomfortable. Thexandra's silver patterns flickered nervously. Zekthul's plates clicked together in an agitated rhythm. These questions are not relevant to membership negotiations, Veltharion said finally. We think they are, Park Seo-jin replied. Before making any decisions about our future, we need to understand exactly what the Council offers and what it expects in return. The truth was becoming clear to everyone in the chamber. The humans hadn't come to negotiate. They had come to deliver a message and gather information. They were studying the Council, learning its weaknesses and measuring its responses. As the session neared its end, Veltharion made one final attempt. Ambassador Lee, I will be direct with you. The Council cannot allow an advanced species to remain outside our authority. It threatens the stability we have worked millennia to achieve. Join us willingly and humanity will prosper. Refuse and we will be forced to take other measures. The chamber fell completely silent. This was as close to a direct threat as Council diplomacy ever came. Every delegate understood what other measures meant. Economic warfare first, then military action if necessary. It was the same pattern that had brought 800 worlds under Council control. Taemin stood quietly for a long moment, then smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Council Prime, let me be equally direct. Humanity rejects Council membership now and forever. Any attempt to force our compliance will be met with appropriate responses. We suggest you focus your attention on species that actually want your help. He turned to leave, then paused and looked back at Veltharion. Oh, and Council Prime? You might want to ask yourself why no species has ever left the Council voluntarily. That's not normal for an organization that claims to serve its members' best interests. With that, Taemin and Park Seo-jin walked out of the chamber. The massive doors closed behind them with a soft hiss, leaving 800 delegates staring at each other in stunned silence. Veltharion floated motionless in his energy bubble. In 3,000 years, nothing like this had ever happened. The Council's authority had never been directly challenged. But these humans seemed completely unconcerned about the consequences of their defiance. As emergency sessions began forming throughout the station, one thought echoed in every alien mind present. What exactly did humanity know that they didn't?